So now we're going to go through how we can create a 4-frame walk cycle with a 2D character sprite using Piskel. So we've got our idle frame from earlier, and we still have our palette for the character loaded. Otherwise, if we create a new animation without matching it to the previous model or animation we've made, things will go wrong very quickly. The other asset I have handy is a 4-frame walk cycle. Walk cycles can be anywhere as low as 2 frames or as high as 24 frames. 4 will look pretty good, maybe a little clunky, but we're aiming to make something achievable today, and you can always add more frames and break down a walk cycle further if you want to later. So looking at this walk cycle, you can probably see how our shading colors are going to help. The character's left leg and arm will do a little darker to help give that sense of depth and help us and the player visually understand which leg and arm is which. First, let's duplicate our idle frame and get to work. Let's move the hands to match positions first, and then we'll use our brighter top color for this hand, and for that hand and arm peeking out from behind the character's back. Now I might go to my palette and select another color to add to the palette just to help with the outline of the arm when it is across the body. So somewhere between the lighter top color and the darker top color for the arm further away. So selecting that color, I don't need to go crazy with it. I can just sort of create a bit of shade for just under the arm. Now let's do the same for the legs. The feet will look a little bit funny, but it will work. I'm deleting the legs, but I'm just leaving one pixel, one little part of that foot, just so I can reference where the ground was or the ground will be. So using my line tool, I'm going to draw the upper half of the leg, get the angle of the bent leg, and then cutting back in to the ground for the foot. Grabbing my darker color now, and again creating the outstretched leg, and with the foot pointing up a little bit, and I'm just keeping the waist of the character that blue color, get rid of a couple of pixels, and it's looking pretty good. Let's duplicate the idle frame again because I like working with that as a base. So in our reference image we can see one hand visible, so I'll use my new shade color to give the arm some shape. First I'll erase the legs again and create the new position for the legs using my line tool, starting with the lighter color all the way across the other side now. Get my reference point for where the ground should be, darker color, that leg will sort of be peeking out from behind the other leg, using my pencil tool to help finish it off. In the reference image we can see one hand visible, so I'll use my new shade color to give the arm some shape. I'll move that hand around. Get my new shade color, my pencil tool, and of course I can fill in all those blanks with the top color. So the next frame will be very similar to the first one that we made, which is currently frame 2. So I'll duplicate and move it into the 4th position. So looking at the reference image, it looks like all we need to do is swap the leg colors over. And again, just fix the arms because they've sort of changed position, using my new green shade color to give a bit of shape to that arm, which is now on the front body. And you can see we've used the darker color for the arm that is furthest away from us. I'm duplicating the second frame we created, which is currently frame 3, because we still have the original idle frame in position 1. Duplicate it and move it to the last position, so currently frame 5. And again, looking at the reference image, it looks like all we need to do is swap the leg colors over. So let's do that. So just replacing the lighter blue with the darker blue. You might just have to remember where the two met. Now let's delete the idle frame because it doesn't quite fit into our animation. And I can go up to my preview and have a look and see how it's all looking. I'm pretty happy with it, but I'm actually going to erase a little bit of the shoulders of frames 2 and 4 to give more of a sense of arms and shoulders rising when extended and falling as they come across the body. I also like the idea of their head sort of bopping up and down a bit. So again, on frames 2 and 4, I'm going to use my select and shift tool and move the whole head down just a pixel. And we look at our preview, we can see the sort of head bopping up and down. We sort of see the shoulders rising and falling a little bit. And it just looks like the character is moving a lot more. Let's up the frame rate and preview. In fact, 6 looks pretty good for this walk cycle. It looks like they're walking pretty fast, but I want my character to have a little bit of hustle. So that's it for our 4-frame walk cycle, creating a character in Piskel.